What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, September 20th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 19:16 Eastern Time in the United States, and I have some major breaking news to share with you on the situation in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East. So the European Parliament, that's the parliament for the EU, the European Union, voted overwhelmingly in favor of lifting restrictions on Ukraine's use of Western weapons against targets on Russian territory. 420 voted in favor, 131 were against, and 63 abstained. So basically, like 75% of the European Parliament voted in favor of allowing Ukraine to use Western weapons to strike targets deep inside of Russia. And what you're looking at here is a map showing some of the bases in Russia that would be within striking distance of Western weapons if they are used by Ukraine to conduct these deep strikes. Now, we know that 2 or 3 weeks ago, the Ukrainian defense minister and a Ukrainian defense attaché went to D.C. and met with the Biden administration officials and presented a list of targets to them that they want to strike. So I think when this happens, I think it's going to be a massive shock and awe style attack on Russia by Ukraine. It's not going to be just sporadic strikes here and there. What they're going to do is they're going to have to overwhelm Russia's air defenses with massive numbers of drones and simultaneously launch hundreds of Western missiles deep inside of Russia. Okay, some of these missiles can actually strike Moscow, okay, from Ukrainian airspace. So the Ukrainians don't even have to fly into Russian airspace. They can stay within protected airspace under the protection of Ukrainian Patriot missiles, and they can just fly to the border of Russia and release these JSAM missiles and Storm Shadow missiles, which have a range of hundreds of miles. Okay, but you can see just dozens and dozens of high-value bases within striking distance. Okay, this is extremely concerning. And if this happens, I think Putin could use nuclear weapons on Ukraine or potentially strike targets inside of NATO or potentially invade the Baltics. We'll have to wait and see what Putin's response is going to be, but it looks like this is coming. It's not a matter of if, but when. I think Ukraine is going to do this very, very soon because Ukraine and the Biden administration and Western Europe are paranoid that if Trump gets into office, he's not going to allow this type of stuff to happen. So they want to basically do as much as they can before Trump potentially takes office. That's why I think they're doing this and they're speeding up the timeline for this. So get prepared, guys, because Russia will respond after Ukraine does this. I do believe that Ukraine is going to try to go after a lot of the bases that Russia uses to launch their bombers in all the missile strikes against Ukraine. Some of the air bases, strategic airfields, very high value strategic targets are going to be hit in a massive attack. Okay, think of what Iran did to Israel. They launched hundreds of drones and then they launched hundreds of missiles after. That's exactly what Ukraine is going to do to Russia. That's the only way that they're going to be successful, is to overwhelm Russia's air defenses. So this is going to be a massive shock and awe style strike. And here we have some new footage coming out of the St. Petersburg area of Russia, showing a massive amount of Russian military equipment on the move near St. Petersburg, which is very interesting because there's no war going on near St. Petersburg. Okay, here you can actually see a bunch of what appears to be T-72s with drone cages on them, possibly over the top of the turret. And I'm very concerned that this could be preparations for an invasion of Estonia. Okay, Estonia is not far from St. Petersburg. Look at all these tanks, guys. Dozens and dozens of tanks on the move in St. Petersburg. And before I continue with the breaking news, I just wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a 25% discount on their mega 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnyprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. But this is basically like their normal 3-month emergency food supply with some extra stuff. Is freeze-dried, so it lasts 25 years. It's packaged in rugged, watertight buckets that don't take up a lot of space. So it's just a no-brainer. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply Mega 3-month emergency food supply. Okay, so this is very concerning. And we have some leaked military documents that have revealed that Russia knew Ukraine was going to invade Kursk. This is being reported by the UK Guardian. Leaked Russian military papers reveal chaos among troops bracing for a Ukrainian attack in Kursk. Months of preparation didn't help when the strike hit on August 6th. Many soldiers panicked and fled, leaving the town of Suja wide open for Ukraine. The documents expose a serious morale crisis with reports of suicides among the Russian troops. Commanders were told to keep tabs on mental health and push state propaganda to lift spirits. Warnings in the documents call for stronger defenses as Ukrainian tactics keep Russian forces on edge. Okay, so I personally think that Putin allowed Ukraine to invade Kursk, and he's also going to allow Ukraine to do the deep strikes. This way he has an excuse or a justification to use nuclear weapons against Ukraine, which is something that he's wanted to do for a very long time. Since this war started, he's basically wanted to nuke Ukraine. He probably dreams about it every night because that would basically cripple Ukraine if he did that, especially over all the major cities. That would cripple Ukraine's will to fight. And it would also scare the rest of the world and make him look like he's some big bad wolf that everybody's got to be afraid of. And that's what he wants. He wants to intimidate everybody. Okay, so guys, we're in some very dangerous times right now. I think we're going to see this. Unfortunately, I think we're going to see Russia nuke Ukraine and possibly lob missiles into NATO bases. So get prepared. And in addition to that, we have escalation in the Middle East. So Israel has been striking Lebanon the last 48 hours. And after the massive attack on the Hezbollah cell phones, or pagers it was actually, so we're now hearing that Israeli radio channels in the northern settlements have switched to silent wave, which will only broadcast in the event of an emergency. And Politico is reporting that U.S. officials say they expect significant escalation between Israel and Hezbollah in the coming days. Now, here we have some fresh video footage coming out of Israel, and you can see Israeli Merkava battle tanks on the move heading up towards Lebanon. So basically, Israel is about to invade Lebanon. They're going to try to push Hezbollah away from the border to keep the northern part of Israel out of artillery range of Hezbollah. Okay, so they're about to invade. They're about to go in. Okay, Israel has already successfully completed their operation in Gaza. So now they can turn their attention towards Hezbollah. Here we have some new footage coming out of Israel showing all these Merkava battle tanks heading up north towards Lebanon. Okay, so get prepared, guys. Things are about to get really crazy. You can see actually this tank right here has a war marking on it. You can see that sideways V. Okay, that's to prevent fratricide or friendly fire. And today, Israel launched a massive air attack on Beirut, wiping out the entire senior command of Hezbollah's Radwan force, about 20 commanders, according to Axios reporter Barak Ravid, citing an Israeli official. Okay, so a massive assassination strike today on the Radwan force, which is like the elite units of Hezbollah. Okay, and yesterday, Israeli fighter jets struck more than 100 Hezbollah rocket launchers in Lebanon that were primed for launch at Israel. Apparently, 1,000 launch barrels were destroyed. Okay, and an emergency security meeting was called by Netanyahu today, which is extremely concerning because of the Sabbath. Having an emergency meeting on a Sabbath is very, very unusual. And all flights to and from Beirut International Airport have been grounded. U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin has postponed his scheduled visit to Israel next week, so that's not a good sign. Delta Airlines has canceled all flights to and from Ben Gurion International Airport in Tel Aviv until at least December 31st, guys. Wow. Absolutely insane. So for the rest of 2024, Delta is not flying to and from Ben Gurion in Tel Aviv. That is very, very serious. And the U.S. is going to deploy the USS Truman aircraft carrier strike group to the eastern Mediterranean amid the growing risk of a war in Lebanon. So we're sending another aircraft carrier strike group to the eastern Mediterranean. And Israel is now on high alert for Hezbollah retaliation. They're very concerned about attacks on civilian areas. The IDF Home Front Command, Medical Corps, and Air Force have elevated their readiness. We're also hearing that the MDA ambulance service is on the highest alert nationwide. And the Lebanese foreign minister said today that Israel is a rogue state that disregards international legitimacy, and responding to it is a duty. And there were reports of a large attack on U.S. troops stationed at the Al-Assad Air Base in western Iraq, with upwards of 12 rockets having been launched at the base by Iranian-backed forces. So that is very concerning. Want to just show you guys some flight paths. So today we have this U.S. E-6 Mercury flying over the Gulf of Mexico. This is a nuclear war command and control plane, and these planes are responsible for communicating with our submerged nuclear-armed submarines. They can also remotely launch all of our Minuteman III ICBMs. So this guy is out in the Gulf right now. We also had some interesting activity off the coast of Southern California today. We also had a nuke sniffer airborne over the Dakotas. This is a special plane that can detect radiation in the atmosphere, but we had 2 aerial refuelers looping off the coast of Los Angeles, which is pretty unusual. Check this out. Okay, not sure what was going on over there, but that's definitely not common. And we had a lot of activity in the eastern Mediterranean. What's very interesting is that a Russian space agency plane took off from Israel today. So I don't know if they were evacuating some of their staff in Israel, but it went from Tel Aviv to Moscow to Vnukovo Airport. Okay, so maybe Russia is evacuating some of their personnel from Israel. And we also had a P-8 Poseidon sub-hunter patrolling the eastern Mediterranean off the coast of Syria, Lebanon, and Israel here. And in addition to that, we had a P-8 Poseidon patrolling Romania here near Ukraine and Crimea. And we've had Polish AWACS planes patrolling the border of Poland and Ukraine the last week or so. And I do believe that Poland is going to start shooting down Russian missiles that fly towards Poland. So now they have these AWACS planes of their own that they purchased from Sweden recently. And they're not reliant on NATO or the U.S., so they can run their own AWACS planes and pick up the Russian missiles and shoot them down with their F-16s. I think that's why Secretary of State Anthony Blinken visited Poland about 2 weeks ago, and I think they finally gave Poland the green light to start shooting down Russian drones and missiles that fly near their airspace, because already, like, I think 3 or 4 missiles flew into Poland, and I think like 1 or 2 drones. So totally unacceptable. Polish people are pissed off that the government in Poland right now, which is a leftist government, they've taken power last year, has not really stood up to Putin, and they've not shot down these missiles that continuously fly into Poland. And here we have a P-8 Poseidon sub-hunter that was patrolling the coast of Iceland. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I'm going to be flying back to the U.S. tomorrow on the 21st. I will be back tomorrow night in the States. So I won't be able to put out another update probably until Sunday sometime, Sunday the 22nd. But I will be posting other videos in the meantime, pre-recorded videos, and I'll try to keep you guys updated on my whereabouts. But that's pretty much it for now, guys. Just make sure you're getting prepared. It looks like things are about to kick off in the Middle East between Israel and Hezbollah, and then also the situation with Ukraine and Russia. It looks like Ukraine is about to launch a massive shock and awe attack on Russia, and Putin is definitely going to do something crazy after that happens. So I'm going to continue to monitor the situation, and like I said, I will be back in the States tomorrow, and I will be posting my first video Sunday. So until then, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.